Chapter 141, Refining Qi, Third Layer. Subsequently,
Ningfan's palm appeared a flicker of spiritual fire, which disposed of the corpse of the Blood Gua elder, and then he put away the female Gua and returned to his room. The female Gua was considered the most precious thing on someone like the Blood Gua elder. It contained extremely strong energy, and if it hadn't been for meeting someone like Ningfan, who possessed the swallowing sky technique, the Blood Gua elder would never have died so easily.
absorbing,
Ningfan pointed his fingertips, landing on the mother worm, and then used the swallowing sky technique. After that, a steady stream of power entered Ningfan's lower abdomen through his meridians. The aura of the bloodworm grew weaker and weaker, while Ningfan grew stronger and stronger, with a faint glow emerging around him.
Tang family. Tang Qiu returned home and saw Tang Sihai and Tang Wuqiang sitting on the sofa. Dad, Grandpa.
What's wrong with you guys? Tang Qiu smiled and said, Ningfan has contacted the head of the land management department and resolved the matter.
This was the first time she had seen her father and grandfather look so bad. It's not that matter.
Tang Wuqiang took a drag on his cigarette and said, It's the Xiao family who sent us an invitation, inviting the Tang family to attend the Divine Healer's thank you banquet at Qin Qiu restaurant tomorrow.
Xiao family? Invitation?
Upon hearing this, Tang Qiu looked at the table and sure enough, she saw a red invitation sitting there.
It was engraved with 6 big characters, Divine Healer's thank you banquet. For a moment, the smile on Tang Qiu's face disappeared. What did the Xiao family mean? Are they planning to attack our Tang family at the Miracle Doctor Appreciation Banquet? Tang Sihai and Tang Wuqiang were silent. They were thinking the same thing as Tang Qiu. Otherwise, why would the Xiao family send them an invitation? The Xiao family is really pushing it. Tang Qiu clenched her fists. Our Tang family is a partner with the Jiang family, but they are relying on their position as the overlord of the underworld to attack us.
They really don't take the Jiang family seriously.
Tang Wuqiang sighed. A strong dragon cannot suppress the local snake.
The Jiang family is strong, but they are strong in business, and most of their connections and influence are in the provincial capital.
The Xiao family is different. They used to be the emperors of the underworld here in Jiangchang. They don't fear the Jiang family at all.
If anyone dares to encroach on their interests, they will take direct action, no matter who they are.
Then Dad, Grandpa, are we going to attend tomorrow? Tang Qiu frowned and said, This is obviously a trap.
The Xiao family has integrated so many powerful people in Jiangchang.
Stopped in front of him, and 2 people walked out of it. A man and a woman. The woman sneered when she saw Ningfan. Ningfan? You dare to come to Mr. Zhao's thank you banquet? What, aren't you afraid that Mr. Xiao will deal with you? Chapter 142, Killing the Bureau.
The people who appeared in front of Ningfan were Yang Qiqi and Chen Wei.
Ningfan raised an eyebrow and said, Deal with me? How do you know that Xiao Lei isn't thanking me? For a moment,
Yang Qiqi and Chen Wei were silent.
Ha ha ha. The next moment, Yang Qiqi laughed until her stomach hurt. Ningfan, you're daydreaming, aren't you? Mr. Xiao thanked you? You really know how to make me laugh. Do you know why Mr. Xiao held this banquet to thank the Divine Doctor?
He wasn't just thanking the Divine Doctor Ning, but also to deal with the Jiang and Tang families.
And you?
You're so close to the Jiang and Tang families, you'll definitely be the first person Mr. Xiao deals with.
Thanking you is really whimsical. Both of them mocked Ningfan.
In their opinion, Ningfan had gone mad. Suddenly, Yang Qiqi narrowed her eyes and smiled. Ningfan, you didn't come here this time to beg Mr. Xiao to forgive you, did you?
Chen Wei snorted. Mr. Xiao forgive him? Qiqi, you're really joking. He will never be forgiven for going with the Jiang family. Also, when I see Mr. Xiao later, I will tell him everything about this waste in Tang Qiu.
At that time, I'm afraid Mr. Xiao will kill him first. As he spoke, he glanced at Ningfan as if he were looking at a corpse.
Ningfan smiled faintly and said, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Disappointed?
Yang Qiqi's mouth curled up in derision. The Jiang and Tang families are both in trouble, so who do you think can protect you? Chen Wei put his arm around her waist. Kiki, there's no need to say so much to this loser. Come on, Mr. Xiao is thanking the Divine Doctor at a banquet that will start soon.
Let's go in first.
As he said that, he shook the big red invitation in his hand. We're not like someone who can only stay out here waiting for Mr. Xiao to come out.
After that, the 2 of them laughed as they entered the Qin Qiu restaurant.
Looking at their backs, Ningfan shook his head and said, They really can't change.
Do they still think they rely on the Tang and Zhang families today? No.
He Ning Fan relies on himself, and he has the power to make the Xiao family submit to him.
At that moment, another car stopped, and Lu Ming got out of it.
He looked at Ning Fan with murderous intent. His son had said that the man in front of him was the one who had crippled him.
Little brat.
As Lu Ming walked past Ning Fan, he said viciously, "You dare to cripple my son's limbs, and soon I will make you pay with your blood. After the immortal Dr. Ning heals my son, you will have to kneel on the ground and beg for his forgiveness."
He let out a menacing threat. Lu Ming quickly entered the Qin Qiu restaurant.
He couldn't wait to meet the immortal Dr. Ning and beg him to heal his son. Ning Fan touched his chin and muttered, "There are a lot of people trying to kill me at this banquet today.
I just wonder what expression you will have when you find out who I am."
He didn't expect not only young Qiqi to want to kill him, but also the Lu family behind her.
But their thoughts will ultimately come to nothing. Ning Fan?
Tang Chuchu's worried voice suddenly sounded from behind Ning Fan.
She anxiously asked, "Why are you here today?"
Hearing this voice, Ning Fan turned around and saw not only Tang Chuchu, but also Tang Sihai, and behind them was a man.
Shan Wu, the bodyguard by the side of the old master Tang.
At this time, both Tang Sihai and Shan Wu stared coldly at Ning Fan, with hostility rising. Ning Fan replied to Tang Chuchu, "Come over here, I have something to do."
"What's wrong?" Tang Chuchu anxiously said, "Do you know what will happen here today?"
The Xiao family is hosting a banquet here to thank the Divine Doctor, and they have invited many powerful people from Jiangqing to come here. You should go, and don't stay here anymore. Otherwise, once the Xiao family finds out that you came here, they will definitely not let you off. She was full of worry. The Xiao family was planning to target the Zhang family this time, and Ning Fan had appeared at Miss Zhang's press conference at that time.
Under such circumstances, how would the Xiao family let Ning Fan go? I know.
Ning Fan smiled and said, "Chuchu, to be honest, I came to Qin Qiu restaurant this time to attend this Divine Doctor Appreciation Banquet."
Upon hearing this,
Tang Chuchu's expression changed, and she smiled bitterly. "Ning Fan, you.
Alas, how can I say anything good about you?
You cannot attend this Divine Doctor Appreciation Banquet.
Listen to me, go back quickly. Don't worry, if anything happens, I will tell you first."
In her opinion, if Ning Fan attended this Divine Doctor Appreciation Banquet, he would definitely die.
Humph. Tang Sihai snorted, "Chu, come with me.
Since someone wants to die, just let him participate. Let's go, the Divine Doctor Appreciation Banquet will start soon. We must go in right away and see what the Xiao family is up to this time, and how they are targeting the Jiang family and us."
Tang Chuchu nodded, then she looked at Ning Fan and said directly, "Ning Fan, listen to me, you must not go in, leave now." And then
Tang Chuchu followed Tang Sihai and walked inside the Qin Qiu restaurant. However, Tang Sihai soon came out again. Standing on the steps, he looked down on Ning Fan and said bluntly, "Don't think you're great just because you have some medical skills. Although you and the legendary healer Ning both have the surname Ning, the gap between you is like that between an ant and an elephant, not even in the same league. I'm telling you, if you dare to go inside the Qin Qiu restaurant today, you will die. I don't care if you live or die, but I can't let my daughter be sad."
Gradually, Tang Sihai left.
Ning Fan shook his head and said, "I have never felt that I am great because of my medical skills, and you, Tang Sihai, have never really seen through me, Ning Fan."
Immediately afterwards,
Ning Fan did not stop at the entrance of the Qin Qiu restaurant again, and entered the backyard of the Qin Qiu restaurant through another side door. Then he saw Xiao Lei, who was playing chess with an old man at the time.
Ning Shini.
At this time, seeing Ning Fan enter, Xiao Lei got up and laughed, "You're here."
He reached out and introduced, "This is my father."
"Thank you so much for your help, otherwise my father would not be sitting here so spiritedly today."
The old man was none other than Grandpa Xiao. "It's fine." Ning Fan waved his hand and laughed, "Grandpa Xiao looks very spirited and has recovered very well." Grandpa Xiao laughed loudly, "Ah, I have to thank my young friend for that.
Come, sit down and play a game of chess with me." Ning Fan sat down, glanced at the chess game on the stone table, and laughed, "Master Zhao's game is a killer."
Chapter 143, A Symbol of Strength. As Ning Fan's voice fell, the courtyard behind the Qin Qiu restaurant fell into silence. Ha ha ha.
It was Grandmaster Xiao who broke the silence first, laughing loudly and saying, "Little friend Ning really has a good eye, being able to see through my game at a single glance. I won't lie to you, little friend Ning, I have been lying in a hospital bed for 5 years as a vegetable. With such a deep grudge, I must have resentment in my heart, so this resentment has unconsciously affected this game of chess. He said. He sighed, his murderous intent surging. I really want to find the person who crippled me back then and kill him for revenge. Ningfan smiled and didn't say anything, but sat down instead, changing the subject. By the way, Mr. Xiao, I wonder how those medicinal herbs are doing that I asked you to find. His main purpose for coming here was for those medicinal herbs, so as to set up a spirit-gathering formation and increase his own cultivation speed. Divine Dr. Ning, I've already found them. Xiao Lei smiled and then took out a wooden box. Inside the box were 200-year-old wild medicinal herbs and one 200-year-old wild medicinal herb, just as he had requested. Ningfan's mind twitched slightly as he felt the aura inside the box. There was indeed a strong aura accumulating within, and Xiao Lei had not deceived him. Then he smiled and said, "Thank you." Xiao Lei smiled slightly and said, "No trouble. However, Dr. Ning, I would like to wait until the thank you banquet to give you these medicinal herbs. That way, I can also prove it to others. How is that?" Ningfan nodded without refusing. It didn't matter if it was sooner or later, since these medicinal herbs would eventually be his anyway. "Thank you, Dr. Ning, for understanding." Xiao Lei laughed and said, "In that case, I won't disturb you and my father. I still have some things to attend to at the thank you banquet." Ningfan nodded. Immediately afterwards, Xiao Lei got up and left to attend to things at the banquet. Ningfan, on the other hand, played a few games of chess with Grandpa Xiao over here, and suddenly Ningfan spoke up, "Grandpa Xiao, I heard Wang Ya mention that there is a kind of energy within your body. I wonder what this energy is." Upon hearing this, Grandpa Xiao's movement of holding the black piece of chess halted, and he promptly laughed. "I will lie to you, Ning Xiaoyu, this energy is actually a symbol of strength." When mentioning this matter, there was a hint of pride in his tone. "Oh?" Ningfan raised an eyebrow. "A symbol of strength? I don't know what the old master is talking about." The old master stroked his beard. "Have you heard of martial artists? Martial artists are divided into external strength martial artists and internal strength martial artists. External strength martial artists only train their muscles and bones to enhance their external strength, but internal strength martial artists are different. Internal strength martial artists can begin to absorb the internal strength in the air, thus allowing them to master a qi. If you are a strong martial artist without natural talent, it is very difficult to break through to the ranks of the masters of internal strength in a lifetime." Ningfan suddenly realized, so that's how it is. "Support us." Applause broke out. Everyone must already know the reason for this banquet, and that is, I want to thank a miracle doctor. Xiao Lei continued, "This miracle doctor not only saved my wife, but also saved my father, so it is only right that I host this thank you party to thank him." Everyone's breathing was quick and their eyes were shining. This divine Dr. Ning even cured Grandpa Xiao, who had been in bed for 5 years. He truly deserves to be called a divine doctor. Then, Xiao Lei smiled and raised his voice, saying, "Next, let's welcome divine Dr. Ning to the stage with a warm round of applause." Chapter 144, Do you have the qualifications? As soon as the words fell, there was silence in the room. The Qingyun restaurant fell into a moment of silence, and everyone's gazes were all directed in the direction Xiao Lei was pointing. Lu Ming stared at that direction and whispered, "Fonger, hang in there, Dad will be able to see the divine Dr. Ning soon, and ask him to save you." Yang Qiqi and Chen Wei felt the same way. The miracle doctor must be an elderly person with such a high level of medical skill. Yang Qiqi whispered, "I hope he's an easygoing old gentleman, in which case it will be much easier for us to ask him to heal my grandfather." Chen Wei laughed proudly, "Don't worry, Qiqi, since we were able to get into this banquet of thanks, I'm sure it will be very easy to ask miracle Dr. Ning to help. Look, miracle Dr. Ning is coming out very soon." Everyone's expression changed, and they looked forward to it. Even Tang Sihai and Tang Chuchu both looked over there, eager to see who this Dr. Ning was. It wasn't long before they saw a figure appear in their line of sight. At this, many of the guests froze, because this figure didn't look like the elderly person they had expected. Instead, it looked like a young man. "Ning Fan?" Suddenly, Yang Qiqi's incredulous scream sounded, "No way! How could he be Dr. Ning?" Yes. The face that appeared in front of everyone's eyes at this moment was Ning Fan. Chen Wei's face turned ugly. Tang Sihai's expression also sank, and the divine Dr. Ning was Ning Fan? Tang Chuchu was first stunned, and then she muttered softly, "Ning Fan. Is this the matter you said you came here to handle?" This really gave me a big surprise. When she was in the Tang family, she did think that Ning Fan was the divine Dr. Ning.
But that thought was immediately dismissed by Tang Sihai and the others.
Now that she had seen Ning Fan in person and heard him called the miracle doctor, a sense of joy welled up in her heart. She had not been wrong. However, as she looked at Ning Fan standing on the stage before her, her expression became a little more complicated. The man she had once needed to protect had now become someone the Xiao family could call a miracle doctor.
He had really grown up so. Is the Xiao family? Tang Sihai is more than happy. After all, the Xiao family was once the emperor of the Jiangcheng underworld, and now with the improvement of the condition of the old Master Xiao, the Jiangcheng underworld will definitely be rectified and once again be controlled by the Xiao family. That also means that the power of the Xiao family will become the pinnacle of Jiangcheng. In this way, Ning Fan becoming a member of the Xiao family will have the qualifications for him to be recognized by Tang Sihai. Xiao Lei also looked at Ning Fan with a smile, thinking that Ning Fan would agree, and so did everyone else. But who knew? Ha ha. At this moment, Ning Fan laughed. Let me submit to the Xiao family? Does the Xiao family have the qualifications? Chapter 145, Defy my Xiao family? Does the Xiao family have the qualifications? For a moment, the Qingyun restaurant fell into dead silence. Ha ha ha. You really want to die?
Chen Wei laughed maniacally. Mr. Xiao asked him to surrender, which was leaving him a way out. However, now he dares to speak to Mr. Xiao in such a tone, then Mr. Xiao will definitely not let him off lightly.
Ning Fan will definitely die. Not only did Chen Wei think so, the rest of the people in the Qingyun restaurant were also thinking this way, shaking their heads.
This young Dr. Ning had extraordinary medical skills and should have had a bright future.
What a pity. He is too arrogant. Xiao family, this is the former emperor of the underworld in Jiangcheng.
Before this, who dared to question their status?
No one.
As expected, Xiao Lei's face had turned ugly at this moment. His eyes narrowed as he stared at Ning Fan, a cold murderous intent rising.
Kid, are you crazy?
Tang Sihai shouted coldly, don't you want to live?
You have to provoke Mr. Xiao to anger, haven't you?
Ning Fan, I order you now, immediately apologize to Mr. Xiao, beg for forgiveness, and then submit to Mr. Xiao.
Up until now, Tang Sihai spoke to Ning Fan in a condescending manner. Is this useless person unable to read the situation? He thinks he has some big background and can't be afraid of the Xiao family? No.
He was once nothing more than a useless person abandoned by the Yang family, delivering packages at the express delivery site under their Tang group.
With this kind of background, what makes him qualified to not take the Xiao family seriously? Order me?
Ning Fan laughed. Tang Sihai, you are still the same as always, thinking that you are above it all.
But I want to ask you, what makes you think you can order me?
Having said that, Ning Fan's tone suddenly raised. Before, for the sake of Qin Qiu, I could call you Uncle Tang, but now you are nothing in my eyes, understand?
Hearing this, Tang Sihai trembled with anger, staring at Ning Fan and coldly said, fine.
Ning Fan, you're very good. Since you want to die on your own, no one can stop you.
Qin Qiu, let's go. He turned around and was about to leave.
How dare this piece of trash speak to him in such a tone? He really doesn't know his place. If it weren't for the fact that he didn't want to see his daughter sad, he would have longed for Ning Fan to die.
No, I'm not leaving.
Tang Qin Qiu gritted her teeth and said, I want to stay with Ning Fan.
I can't leave him alone.
In her opinion, Ning Fan had offended the Xiao family and this time, he was definitely in grave danger.
Tang Qin Qiu could not just stand by and watch him get into trouble. Shut up. Tang Sihai roared, this kid is going to die soon, do you understand?
His anger made his heart ache. She really is a woman grown, and there's no holding her back.
Qin Qiu.
Ning Fan smiled reassuringly and said, go away, don't worry, I'll be fine, and I'll come visit you at the Tang family soon. Tang Qin Qiu looked at Ning Fan, and mist rose in her eyes.
Bang!
Suddenly, Chen Hu's arm landed on Tang Qin Qiu's neck, and the next moment, Tang Qin Qiu fainted. Subsequently, Tang Sihai reached out and supported Tang Qin Qiu's body, looking coldly at Ning Fan, you don't have a chance to go to my Tang family anymore.
Offending the Xiao family, you will definitely die here today. Immediately afterwards,
Tang Sihai led Tang Qin Qiu away from here.
Divine Dr. Ning.
After waiting until Tang Sihai and the others had left, Xiao Lei spoke with a smile, since you cured my wife and my father, I let them leave so that Tang Qin Qiu wouldn't see you die in such a miserable state.
But
As he said this, murderous intent flashed in his eyes. You will stay here today and become a corpse.
No one has ever dared to provoke the Xiao family's dignity.
He had already made up his mind to kill Ningfan as a warning to others. Ningfan defied the Xiao family in front of so many people, and so many people saw it. If he is let go today, who will still take the Xiao family seriously in the future?
Mr. Ning. At this moment,
Wang Ya suddenly rushed out from behind, shouting nervously at Ningfan, "You hurry up and go. Grandpa Xiao is a 4th level internal strength master. He is going to attack you, so I will buy you some time." She had just been talking to Master Xiao in the backyard, and the other party had accidentally let slip that he wanted to attack Ningfan, so Wang Ya was in a hurry and found an excuse to come over and tell Ningfan about it. Since eating the little pill of return that Ningfan gave her, she has also developed internal strength within her body and has become a master of the 2nd level of internal strength. Because of this, Wang Ya is very grateful to Ningfan, and she cannot stand by and watch something happen to him. Ningfan raised an eyebrow and looked at Wang Ya unexpectedly. He didn't expect Wang Ya to speak up for him at this time. She is a member of the Xiao family, after all.
Wang Ya. Xiao Lei coldly glared at Wang Ya. What are you trying to do? Defy the Xiao family? At this moment,
the rest of the guests in the Qin Qiu restaurant also looked at Wang Ya unexpectedly.
How could this woman risk offending the Xiao family by reminding Ningfan? When did this useless woman become so popular?
Chen Wei looked at Ningfan with envy. From Tang Chuchu to Jiang Rushua, and now there was another incredibly beautiful woman speaking up to remind Ningfan. He was really jealous.
Yang Qiqi's face also looked unpleasant. What kind of tactics did this useless person use? Mr. Xiao.
Wang Ya didn't expect Xiao Lei to have already made a move against Ningfan. She stood in front of Ningfan and could only grit her teeth and say, "Mr. Ning has done me a favor. Please spare Mr. Ning's life with Mr. Xiao."
Xiao Lei's face turned completely cold.
He felt that the authority of the Xiao family had been challenged today. First, Ningfan questioned their Xiao family's strength and status.
And Wang Ya?
As a member of their Xiao family, she is now speaking up for Ningfan. Today, he must die. Xiao Lei said coldly, "Wang Ya, and you, I will give you a chance to make up for your mistakes.
Kill this Ningfan, otherwise, then you will die with him."
Wang Ya stood in front of Ningfan,
not saying a word. The choice was obvious.
"Good, very good, it seems you want to die with him." Xiao Lei clapped his hands and said coldly, "But why does my father need to kill you? Just our Xiao family's hired thugs are enough." For the past 5 years, because his father was seriously ill and bedridden, he had to tolerate it, but no one knew that he, Xiao Lei, was also secretly training thugs. Soon, 20 or so people began to appear around the restaurant, constantly approaching Ningfan and Wang Ya. As for the others, they had distanced themselves from them at this moment, fearing that they would be implicated.
In their view, the outcome was already obvious. How could a woman, plus a doctor, possibly survive these 20 people?
Wang Ya protected Ningfan, glanced around at these people, took a deep breath, and said, "Mr. Ning, you leave. I'll buy you some time.
As long as Master Xiao doesn't intervene, these people can't stop me." Chapter 146, a bit weak. Ningfan is indeed a good fighter.
Wang Ya knows this, but she feels that this is only among ordinary people, and a master of internal strength like Master Xiao, who is at the 4th layer, can definitely kill Ningfan.
Therefore, Wang Ya volunteered to stay behind and protect Ningfan's retreat.
Ha! Xiao Lei sneered, "A few years ago, you relied on our Xiao family to become the boss of District 7 in Jiangcheng.
How capable you are, I know it very well. You still want to protect Ningfan's retreat, but these people will kill you if you make a move." At this moment,
the thugs called by Xiao Lei have gradually approached Wang Ya and Ningfan.
Wang Ya took a deep breath and said, "I am no longer the same Wang Ya as before."
She took the lead and struck first.
She rapidly mobilized the internal energy in her lower abdomen, which flowed into her palm.
She clenched her fist and smashed it out, directly hitting the abdomen of one of the men.
Instantly,
the man, as if he had been hit hard, his body slammed backwards, smashing into the wall, creating a hole. In that instant, Xiao Lei's pupils contracted, and he stared at Wang Ya with disbelief in his eyes.
When did this woman become so powerful?
Not only him, but also the guests around him were all dumbfounded.
However,
before they could react, Wang Ya reappeared, releasing the power of the 2nd layer of internal strength, and her aura changed as she approached.
The next moment,
She pointed her finger, landing on the other person's temple, and then a bloody hole appeared on the person's forehead. This was the work of internal strength. A moment later, Wang Ya lifted her foot, and in just 5 minutes, she had resolved all these people in front of her. All 20-odd people collapsed on the ground, looking extremely miserable.
However, Wang Ya was not feeling good either.
This was her first strike after breaking through to the second level of internal strength, and she had paralyzed so many people at once. For a moment, she was panting heavily and her forehead was covered in cold sweat. Even so, what she had done still shocked everyone. The guests around them all felt a tingling in their scalps, and were glad that they had not provoked this woman just now. Otherwise, they might also be paralyzed on the ground right now, suffering like those people.
Damn it!
Chen Wei clenched his fists, his eyes full of jealous rage. What the hell does this piece of trash have that makes such an awesome woman protect him? He was already jealous beyond his ability to function, thinking back to half a month ago, when Ningfan was still an ant that he could casually stomp to death with his foot. Why, after such a short period of time,
would so many women protect him?
Yang Qiqi's face looked unnatural. With this woman protecting him, Ningfan might still be alive today.
Hear that? Everyone nodded in deep understanding.
That woman is so good at fighting, she beat up more than 20 people by herself, who can stop her?
However,
then these people glanced at Ningfan again, shaking their heads in disdain. To let a woman protect him, he really is a complete waste.
He's disgracing men.
You really are beyond my expectations. Xiao Lei stared coldly at Wang Ya. I didn't expect your strength to improve so quickly.
If my father hadn't woken up, you might have really threatened our Xiao family's position.
What a pity.
My father has already woken up.
With him here, you and this Ningfan will die today, and no one will be able to walk out.
Old Master Xiao?
Upon hearing this, the crowd fell silent. Old Master Xiao, who had not moved for 5 years while lying in bed, could he still have the same strength as before? They doubted in their hearts.
Wang Ya,
I never thought you would actually break through to the ranks of internal strength masters.
At this moment,
a mighty voice gradually came from the backyard, and then Grandmaster Xiao appeared in everyone's line of sight. He sighed and said, what a pity. If you weren't against the Xiao family now, I really wouldn't mind training you. Wang Ya stared at Grandmaster Xiao, who had just walked out, and protected Ningfan, as if facing a great enemy. Just from the sound of a single voice, she was able to feel the threat from Grandmaster Xiao, and could imagine how big the gap between her and Grandmaster Xiao was. Grandmaster Xiao looked at Ningfan and shook his head and laughed. You have extraordinary medical skills, and I originally had high hopes for you, but unfortunately you don't understand the good intentions of our Xiao family.
Alas, never mind.
In that case, today I will kill you, change the sky of Jiangcheng, and let these people see the strength of our Xiao family.
Now that I, the old man, am cured, then the position of the emperor of the Jiangcheng underworld will remain with our Xiao family, and no one can shake it.
With these words, Grandpa Xiao was not only speaking to Ningfan and Wang Ya, but also warning everyone present that he was going to kill Ningfan and Wang Ya as a warning to others.
However,
these guests around them were not martial artists and could not feel the murderous intent coming from Grandpa Xiao. They thought about how fierce Wang Ya had just been and then looked at Grandpa Xiao's frail appearance, and couldn't help but doubt whether Grandpa Xiao was really Wang Ya's match.
Wang Ya.
Master Xiao looked at Wang Ya with a world-weary expression in his eyes.
I will give you one more chance.
Tell me how you managed to break into the ranks of internal strength masters and kill this Ningfan. If you do, I will spare your life. Wang Ya did not answer Master Xiao, but gritted his teeth and said, Master, you were once the person I admired most. Why have you become like this? It is clear that Mr. Ning cured you, so why are you repaying kindness with hatred and trying to kill Mr. Ning? Since he saw Grandmaster Xiao single-handedly beat up more than 30 people before, he has become the one person Wang Ya admires the most, but now what Grandmaster Xiao and the others have done makes Wang Ya feel sick.
Humph. Upon hearing
this, Grandmaster Xiao snorted coldly. This person is only good at medicine, and yet he still has the audacity to make the Xiao family submit to him. Furthermore, my Xiao family gave him a choice, but he didn't cherish it, and he still doesn't take my Xiao family seriously, so he must die today. In his opinion, as long as he does it himself, Ningfan will become a corpse. After all, this person is just a doctor and doesn't even have the slightest bit of strength, so how can he resist a master of the inner strength level 4 like him?
Wang Ya. The next moment,
Grandpa Xiao raised his voice and said, Since you have chosen to be our Xiao family's enemy, then I will kill you too, so that the world will know that our Xiao family's dignity cannot be provoked.
Immediately afterwards,
He mobilized his internal strength, which was as powerful as a wolf, and then he slapped out, about to land on Wang Ya. At this time, a figure flashed past, appearing in front of Wang Ya, blocking his palm, and muttered, "Is this the strength of a 4th level internal strength master?
It's a bit weak." Chapter 147, The Gap. In an instant, everyone looked at Ningfan in surprise.
No one expected him to be able to block Master Zhao's palm.
"You want to die."
Master Xiao was also taken aback, but after hearing what Ningfan said, he coldly said, "You are the first person to dare to say that I am weak. Since you can't wait to die, then I will kill you first, and then kill Wang Ya." A ball of anger was rising in his chest.
"Mr. Ning, you."
Wang Ya looked at Ningfan, who was blocking her way, and hesitated. She said, "Master Xiao is a 4th level internal strength master.
If he unleashes his full strength, you won't be able to handle him."
Ningfan smiled and said, "Don't worry." After hearing these words, Wang Ya could only take a half step back to make room for Ningfan, but she stood behind him, her spirit highly concentrated. Once she noticed the first sign of defeat in Ningfan, she would be the first to rush forward to save him. But the people around him looked at Ningfan as if they were looking at a dead man.
Ha ha ha. Chen Wei laughed maniacally. "I'm afraid his brain has been kicked by a donkey. He thought he could block Master Zhao's palm and be invincible? Obviously, Master Xiao didn't even use his full strength. TSK, can't he hide behind that woman and be protected by her? He had to go up and die. What an idiot." In his opinion, Ningfan would definitely be killed next by Master Xiao, who let him show off. "Boy." Grandmaster Xiao continued coldly, "Next, you will pay the price for your arrogance." The next moment,
Grandmaster Zhao's figure suddenly disappeared, sprinting towards Ningfan, his speed reaching the extreme, like an arrow leaving the bow, like a phantom. At this time, Ningfan, standing on the opposite side, frowned after feeling Grandmaster Zhao's strength. "Is this all you've got?
Or are you not using your full strength?" He was a little disappointed. A martial artist at the 4th level of internal strength shouldn't be this weak, right? "Kill him." Chen Weijian's face was grim, and he said with envy, "Master Xiao, you must kill him." He couldn't wait to see Ningfan dead. At that moment, Master Xiao clenched his fists and moved closer to Ningfan, and there was a buzzing sound in the air between his wide-open fists. However, just as Master Xiao's fists were about to touch Ningfan, Ningfan raised his hand, and an invisible force directly pushed down on Master Xiao's abdomen. Bang!
Immediately afterwards, everyone saw only the old Master Zhao's body being blasted out, and even a dozen tables made of wood were broken in half. At this moment, the Qin Qiu restaurant was deathly silent.
Xiao Lei's face was gloomy.
Yang Qiqi was dazed.
Chen Wei's hideous smile on his face froze.
No one expected that Ningfan could just push out a palm to blast the old Master Xiao out, and it looked so miserable.
Isn't he a doctor? Why is he able to have such strength? In fact,
at this time, even Grandmaster Xiao did not imagine that Ningfan would actually have such strength. He had never felt the slightest fluctuation of internal strength from Ningfan.
"Kid, you're pushing me."
The next moment, Grandmaster Xiao slowly got up, staring at Ningfan with a gloomy expression in his eyes. "I originally thought that you were just an ant that I could kill with a casual kick, so I didn't take it seriously.
Now, I will make you feel fear." After saying this,
he mobilized the internal energy in his body, and the momentum of his body instantly filled the entire Qin Qiu restaurant, pressing down on everyone. For a moment, everyone looked at Grandmaster Xiao with fear.
They were just ordinary people. When had they ever seen such a technique? Even Wang Ya's heart sank.
When Grandmaster Xiao fought with her just now, did he actually still have hidden strength? Thinking about it, she couldn't help but look at Ningfan with concern.
Could Mr. Ning still win this time?
Is this the true strength of the 4th level of internal strength? Who knew that after feeling the momentum of Grandmaster Xiao, Ningfan was filled with fighting spirit, and excitedly said, "Ha ha ha.
Come, give it your best shot, just let me test my hand."
Ningfan's words further irritated Grandmaster Xiao, who blared at Ningfan angrily, "Kid, arrogant."
The next moment,
Grandmaster Zhao's body leapt high into the air, his fists driving the air, his punches buzzing as they continuously smashed down at Ningfan. Ningfan raised his hand to block, but at this moment, he took a few steps back.
"Is this your best?"
He looked at Master Xiao and muttered to himself, "Now that I am at the 3rd level of qi refining, my realm should be similar to a martial artist at the 3rd level of internal strength."
But
I am a cultivator, and my cultivation method is different from theirs. There is a qualitative difference, so Master Zhao's strength at the 4th level of internal strength is not as good as mine. I just don't know how much my true combat power should be these days.
In just an instant,
he had figured out the difference between himself and Master Xiao in an instant. The cultivation arts were superior to the martial arts practiced by Master Xiao and the others. Therefore, he, Ningfan, could cross realms to deal with martial artists like Master Xiao.
Ningfan took 2 steps back.
Ha, he was definitely no match for Master Xiao.
It's just that.
The 2 steps Ningfan took back fell into Chen Wei's eyes, but made him think that Ningfan was no match for Master Xiao, and he looked ferocious for a moment. Now see who can save him. Wang Ya was standing behind him, his spirit on full alert, ready to save Ningfan at any moment. You really surprised me by being able to withstand my full strength. Grandpa Xiao looked at Ningfan and sneered, but that's all there is to it.
The next time I strike, you will die instantly, so that everyone in Jiangcheng will know that the Xiao family's dignity cannot be provoked. Our Xiao family will remain the emperor of the Jiangcheng underworld. In his opinion,
Ningfan must have also been unable to defeat himself, which is why he took 2 steps back.
How would he know that Ningfan was just testing the gap between the two of them? Continue.
Ningfan looked up and said, as for who will be killed today, it will only be you and your Xiao family. After testing the gap between the two of them, he clearly understood that at the moment he could casually kill Grandmaster Xiao.
Rotten brat, arrogant.
Master Xiao said viciously, in that case, I'll show you the real gap between us. I have been practicing martial arts for my whole life, how can someone like you compare?
And then,
Master Zhao's fist, which carried a full force blow, arrived in front of Ningfan in the blink of an eye. Ningfan's gaze was calm, and he didn't even take him seriously.
This further incited Master Zhao's anger. Die. However,
next, Ningfan moved. He just raised his hand and grabbed Zhao's arm, and then the other hand chopped at his arm.
Ah!
A miserable scream came from Zhao's mouth, and his face was hideous.
At this moment, Zhao's arm had been disabled by Ningfan. Chapter 148. Can you do it? Stop.
As Ningfan saw Xiao Laoji's arm being disabled, Xiao Lei's pupils contracted and he immediately shouted out, Ningfan, let go of my father. Xiao Laoji was the pillar of their Xiao family, and if he died here, their family would be finished.
Ningfan sneered, he wanted to kill me, and he still wants me to let him go. Do you think there is such a good thing? Bang!
The next moment, Ningfan's hand shot out and landed directly on Zhao's abdomen. Immediately afterwards, Zhao's face turned pale with pain.
Xiao was horrified. You've wasted all my strength?
He felt his strength draining away, and his aura began to weaken.
Ningfan.
Xiao Lei's eyes were bloodshot.
You really want to make a complete enemy of our Xiao family, don't you?
Ningfan said coldly, from the moment your Xiao family went back on your word, we have already been enemies.
Today, no one from the Xiao family will survive.
There was silence all around, and the other guests were looking at Ningfan with numb scalps. They never expected that this person was not only a doctor, but also had such extraordinary martial arts power in his hands.
He is only in his 20s, is he still human?
Chen Wei tightened his fingers, sinking them into the flesh, staring at Ningfan with eyes full of unwillingness.
Why did he survive again?
Yang Qiqi looked at Ningfan, who looked like a god, and her face was even more unpleasant. She was in a daze, and a feeling that she had never had before emerged in her heart. Next is my business with the Xiao family. Ningfan glanced at the many guests and smiled faintly, asking them to leave. In this glance, he didn't even look at Chen Wei and Yang Qiqi. In his opinion, these two people had become unknown minor characters in his world.
Soon, everyone left.
They all knew in their hearts that the sky above the Jiangcheng underworld would soon change.
The Xiao family's era was about to end, and it would be the era of the Ning family. Ningfan. Yang Qiqi gritted her teeth and stepped forward, wanting to mention something about Yang's grandfather.
However, Ningfan interrupted directly, coldly saying, Wang Ya, send them away. Wang Ya nodded, grabbed Yang Qiqi's arm, and threw her out, along with Chen Wei, who was also thrown out. Long before, Wang Ya already knew who these two people were. Now, after hearing Ningfan's words, naturally, she would not spare them any face.
Ningfan.
After the guests had left, Xiao Lei stared at Ningfan, his voice trembling. You actually crippled my father?
Bang.
However, as soon as he finished speaking, a flash of spiritual energy appeared in Ningfan's palm, directly breaking Xiao Lei's legs and causing him to kneel on the ground.
For a moment, a grimace of pain appeared on Xiao Lei's face.
Ning Xiaoyu, we, the Xiao family, were in the wrong in this matter. Grandpa Xiao bowed his head at this time, forcibly swallowing his murderous intent and resentment, and apologized with gritted teeth. How about you give our Xiao family a chance? He had never imagined that he, a master of the internal strength fourth layer, would apologize to Ning Fan at this time. After all, this person had previously seemed to him like an ant that could be easily stepped on. A chance? Ning Fan laughed. If your Xiao family quietly continues with this banquet to thank the divine doctor, and directly gives me the 3 medicinal herbs without causing so many problems, I don't mind leaving your Xiao family behind.
Unfortunately, you all want to kill me, so how can I possibly leave you behind?
For someone like Master Xiao, Ning Fan would never be soft-hearted, nor would he listen to him at will. He even dared to kill his benefactor, so what else is there that he wouldn't do?
At this moment,
Ning Fan had already walked up to Master Xiao, playing with a Western-style knife in his hands.
Master Xiao's face grew more and more unpleasant to see. Ning Fan, if you kill me, you will also die. Master Xiao roared, do you think that I was able to cultivate to the 4th level of internal strength just by hard work? I have people behind me. If you kill me, Master Kuyun will never let you go.
Ning Fan froze for a moment, then smiled and said, if I don't kill you, I won't be able to rest easy.
Chirp. The next moment,
the Western-style knife in Ning Fan's hand had already sliced across Xiao's neck, leaving a bloody trail. He had lost his internal strength, and was now just an ordinary person.
Ning Fan could kill him at will.
At this moment, Grandpa Xiao opened his eyes wide, covering his neck, staring at Ning Fan with disbelief, as if he couldn't believe that he would really dare to kill him.
Plop. Soon, Grandpa Xiao's breath stopped completely, and his whole body collapsed to the ground. He who once controlled the Jiangcheng underworld was now dead. Ning Fan, don't kill me.
Xiao Lei was afraid, and with great effort he said, I can give you all the Xiao family's wealth, and I can integrate the underworld and be your puppet, working for you. All his arrogance was based on the old master, and now that he was dead, his only support was gone.
And he could see that Ning Fan definitely dared to kill him.
If he didn't beg for mercy at this time, then the only thing waiting for him was death.
Wang Ya, you have half a month to take control of the Jiangcheng underworld. Ning Fan suddenly asked, can you do it? Wang Ya was stunned for a moment.
Then she hurriedly said, please rest assured, Mr. Ning, I can definitely do it.
Hearing Wang Ya's reply, Ning Fan looked at Xiao Lei and said indifferently, if Wang Ya can do it, why would I keep you?
Before Xiao Lei could react, Ning Fan's Western-style knife fell from his hand, and Xiao Lei followed in the footsteps of his grandfather Xiao.
Remember what you just said.
Ning Fan said directly, taking control of the Jiangcheng underworld as quickly as possible is
useful to me. Wang Ya nodded.
After that, Ning Fan picked up the box on the table and left.
2 days had passed, and Luo Mangyao illness must have almost recovered.
He should call Luo Mangyao when he has time and get the 200-year-old wild medicinal herb back. He can't wait to set up the spirit-gathering formation to increase his cultivation speed.
However, there is still one important matter waiting for him to deal with.
Soon, Ning Fan returned home.
Qin Qiu was sitting in the living room, waiting for him. Qiu.
Ning Fan reached out and rubbed Qin Qiu's head.
Go inside the house. I will give you acupuncture to completely cure you.
In this way, you won't have to suffer anymore in the future.
He hadn't forgotten about treating Xiaoqiu.
After some calculation, it had been exactly 7 days since he had last given her acupuncture.
Okay, brother, I understand. Qin Qiu nodded, but her face was slightly red. She lowered her head and said, brother, do I need to take off my clothes like last time? Chapter 149 Qin. No need.
Ning Fan patted her head and laughed, brother can put the needles in through the clothes this time. After breaking through to the 3rd level of refining qi, he has become more proficient in the use of spiritual energy, so he can put the needles in through the clothes naturally.
Oh. Qin Qiu nodded, got it. Very soon.
She followed Ning Fan upstairs, lay down on the bed, and waited for Ning Fan to put the needles in to cure her.
At this time,
Ning Fan held 6 silver needles in his hands, and mobilized the aura within his body to wrap around the 6 silver needles.
Swish.
The next moment, Ning Fan manipulated the 6 silver needles to land together at the position of Qin Qiu's heart, once again presenting the outline of a hexagon. A trace of black gas appeared along the 6 silver needles and dissipated into the air. Qin Qiu bit her lower lip hard and didn't make a sound. However, she felt as if her body was slowly becoming relaxed. After about 3 minutes, Ning Fan's eyes flashed. The next moment, he reached out and placed his hand on Qin Qiu's body, and then saw the 6 silver needles pierce out and return to the palm of his hand. After seeing this, Ning Fan let out a long breath and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. This round of treatment was the one that really cured Qiu. However, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. At this time, Qiu was clearly wearing clothes, but Ning Fan saw that there were golden veins all over her body, and these veins kept connecting with each other.
Not only that, Ning Fan vaguely sensed that Qin Qiu's aura was not quite right. It was getting stronger and stronger, even surpassing him. What's going on? Ning Fan's face changed, and he reached out and grabbed Qin Qiu's arm, asking in a deep voice, Xiao, how do you feel now? Is there anything wrong with your body? Just.
Qin Qiu's eyes were tightly shut, her body trembling, but she did not reply to Ning Fan.
Boom!
The next moment, the golden veins that had appeared on Qin Qiu's body completely connected together, and an extremely overbearing force emanated from her, instantly knocking Ning Fan's body flying and crashing him against the wall. This was not the end. When Ning Fan got up with difficulty and looked at Qin Qiu's body, he saw golden light emerging from her body. Moments later, a burst of light shot up from her body, and in an instant, it was as bright as day at the villa.
People all over Jiangcheng noticed the scene and couldn't help but look up at the villa in amazement. What the hell is going on?
Ning Fan looked at Qin Qiu, who was protected by a golden light, and his pupils contracted. Why did such a big change happen to her after I cured her? Even Ning Fan felt his heart palpitate at the power that just radiated from Qin Qiu. He even had a feeling in his heart that if he hadn't broken through to the 3rd level of refining energy, under the impact of that power just now, he would either die or become disabled. The changes in Qin Qiu's body continued for half an hour before gradually disappearing. Ning Fan walked up to her and kept looking at her with a worried expression.
Brother!
Soon, Qin Qiu opened her eyes and looked at Ning Fan, blinking. Why are you looking at me like that?
Is my illness gone?
Ning Fan reached out and touched the top of her head, smiling. It's completely gone, and you won't have to suffer from heartache anymore.
But, Qiu, do you know what just happened to you? Huh? Qin Qiu tilted her head. What happened?
Brother, I feel like I just fell asleep for a little while, and then when I woke up, I saw you looking at me, and nothing else happened.
Ning Fan frowned. Doesn't Qiu know? I see. Brother knows. Ning Fan smiled. You rest well, isn't tomorrow the weekend? Sleep in a bit more. Speaking of which,
Qin Qiu giggled and said, Brother, I made a date with my classmate to go out and play tomorrow. Also, she told me that a big star is coming to our Jiangcheng site to start a tour, and she wants to buy tickets to go see it. I heard that this star disappeared for a long time, and this is the first time she has appeared after disappearing.
Ning Fan smiled and said, Okay, it's fine to go relax. I'll transfer some money to you later.
After talking with Qin Qiu in the room for a while, Ning Fan got up and left.
He called Luo Mengyao. Mr. Ning.
Luo Mengyao's laughter sounded. You really know how to pick a time to call, just when I'm done taking a shower.
Are you coming over to find me now?
Ning Fan helplessly stroked his forehead.
This woman is really a demon.
If her fans knew that she spoke to herself like that, they would probably hate themselves.
I have something important to discuss with you.
Ning Fan changed the subject. The red spots on your body should have disappeared, and you no longer have that unbearable pain in the middle of the night, right?
Luo Mengyao nodded, yes. Ning Fan continued, so are you free to come to Jiangcheng recently? Bring me the 200-year-old wild medicinal herb. He wanted to set up the spirit gathering formation as soon as possible. Haha, Mr. Ning, I'm in Jiangcheng right now. Luo Mengyao smiled, you can come and get the herb from me right now.
Ning Fan pondered for a moment, and thought better of it. No, wait until tomorrow, it's too late today. What happened to Xiao just now made Ning Fan wary. It was so late, he didn't dare to leave her side too far, afraid that something would happen to her.
Let me guess, Mr. Ning is not blushing, is he?
Luo Mengyao teased, Haha, Mr. Ning, you are really the most special man I have ever met. Before Luo Mengyao could finish speaking, Ning Fan hung up the phone directly. This woman's words were sometimes really annoying.
However, soon, he received a text message from Luo Mengyao, stingy man, hanging up on me after I just made a joke? If you think tonight is too late, then wait until tomorrow.
I'll be giving a concert at the Jiangcheng Convention and Exhibition Center tomorrow, and I'll have Lin Lao wait for you.
Outside.
I'll give you the 200-year-old wild medicinal herb then. Ning Fan put the phone away after reading it, but then he suddenly thought, Xiaoqiu is going to see Luo Mingyao's concert tomorrow, isn't he? Without thinking much about it, he sent a message to Tang Qiu saying that he was safe, and then went back to his room to meditate. In a very remote place in Jiangcheng, in a large hall, in the center of this hall, there was an engraved character, Qin.
At this moment,
a flash of light appeared, and then in the empty hall, suddenly many people appeared.
These people's eyes were all aglow with excitement. Chapter 150, The Little Princess.
There was silence in the hall for a moment, and then there were sounds of hot breathing coming from all around. Everyone's eyes were aglow with excitement. They had been desperately searching for the little princess who had been lost for 16 years, and she had finally appeared.
16 years ago.
The man at the top of the hall then spoke, his eyes deep. The year the little princess was born, it triggered unusual phenomena in the heavens and earth. The divination performed by Tianjizi clearly stated that our Qinhuang clan would fall from its current position of power because of the little princess. As a result, our Qinhuang clan was plunged into civil strife, and the queen mother left the Qinhuang clan with the little princess and disappeared without a trace. Upon hearing this, no one in the hall said a word, as they all thought of that incident from years ago. At the time, they thought that the little princess's departure would calm the Qinhuang clan, but they never imagined that her departure was the beginning of their downfall. That year, the unusual phenomenon in the heavens and earth caused by Qin Qiu attracted the attention of the imperial clan, the Xiao clan. Later, someone from the Xiao clan came to inform the Qin clan that their young princess was to marry into the Xiao clan when she turned 20 and become the consort of the imperial prince.
If not, the Qin clan would be wiped out. Since then, the Qin clan has been desperately searching for the young princess's whereabouts.
Unfortunately, after so many years and having searched every corner of the world, they have not felt the slightest trace of the Qin princess.
It wasn't until just now
they sensed the presence of their little princess. And this means that as long as the Qin clan can find the little princess and let her marry Xiao Yun, then the Qin clan will be saved from falling from the altar.
This is what most people are excited about. Unexpectedly, the little princess's presence is still within the Great Xia territory.
The man above the main hall said with a deep expression, "Go.
2 people will bring the little princess back." At this moment,
as the man's voice fell, 2 elderly men in the palace looked at each other and stepped forward to volunteer. "Elder, we are willing to go and bring back the little princess." The rest of the crowd frowned at them, and even the man at the top of the hall frowned slightly.
Good.
However, his brows immediately relaxed, and he threw down a token engraved with the character Qin. "Take this token and go.
If you don't bring back the little princess, then you don't need to come back." Tang family.
Tang Sihai returned home in a hurry, while Tang Qiu, who had fainted, was helped back to her room.
What happened? Tang Guoqiang asked directly upon seeing Tang Sihai, what happened at the Xiao family's meeting to thank the divine doctor? Also, what exactly is the identity of the divine doctor Ning that the Xiao family wanted to thank? Tang Sihai spoke, Ning Fan is the divine doctor Ning that the Xiao family wanted to thank. Whoosh! Ning Fan is the miracle doctor?
Instantly, Tang Guoqiang stood up and laughed out loud. "Ha, good boy, this time even I was surprised. I never thought that he would be the miracle doctor that the Xiao family was talking about, and also the protagonist of this miracle doctor appreciation banquet. When I think back to when I first met Ning Fan, he was just a delivery boy under the Tang family banner. It's only been a short time, and I never thought that he would have become an existence that even the Xiao family calls a miracle doctor. Neither Qiu nor I have misjudged the man." Tang Guoqiang said with relief, "Ning Fan will one day become a powerful figure standing at the top of Jiangcheng.
He can't wait to see that day." "Dad." Tang Sihai whispered, "I'm afraid you won't live to see that day." "Huh? What do you mean?"
Tang Guoqiang glanced at Tang Sihai and said in a bad temper, "Ning Fan has only spent a dozen days or so and has already become someone that even the Xiao family treats respectfully. Old man, I can still live for a few more years at least in my current state of mind, so how can I not see the day when Ning Fan becomes a powerful figure in Jiangcheng? He thinks that his son is cursing him to death. What a disobedient son."
"Dad, that's not what I meant."
Tang Sihai explained, "Because Ning Fan is probably already a corpse by now."
In an instant, as Tang Sihai's words fell, Tang Guoqiang's face changed. "What do you mean?"
"The Xiao family used to be the emperor of the Jiangcheng underworld. I even heard that Mr. Xiao was cured by Ning Fan.
With them protecting him, who could possibly lay a hand on Ning Fan? Tang Sihai, I know you don't like Ning Fan, but you can't curse him like that, do you hear me?"
In his opinion, with the Xiao family protecting him, Ning Fan could walk all over Jiangcheng.
"Dad, here's what happened. Tang Sihai told the story of what happened at the thank you banquet for the miracle doctor.
At the end, he snorted that Ningfan will completely offend the Xiao family and be killed by them.
He brought this upon himself.
I persuaded him to apologize to Xiao Lei, but I never expected him to question my qualifications. He even said outrageous things, saying that the Xiao family was not qualified to make him submit. Dad, you tell me, with Ningfan having offended the Xiao family like this, how is it possible for him to survive?
For a moment, Tang Guoqiang was silent, slumped to the ground, and sighed. This time, Ningfan was really reckless.
Alas, what a pity. Originally, he was the son-in-law of the Tang family that I had my eyes on, but I never expected that he would offend the Xiao family this time. Just as Tang Sihai said, he also doesn't really believe that Ningfan can survive the Xiao family. After all, the Xiao family was once the emperor of the Jiangcheng underworld, ruthless and ruthless. Anyone who has offended them has had a bad end, let alone Ningfan provoking the Xiao family's dignity in front of so many powerful people in Jiangcheng. After this matter gradually passes, go find Ningfan's body. Tang Guoqiang spoke up, send him on his last journey. No matter what, Ningfan is also someone who saved my life.
Our Tang family cannot be ungrateful. Did you hear that?
At the end of the sentence, he gave Tang Sihai a warning glare.
He knew that Tang Sihai didn't like
Ningfan and was afraid that he would ignore his words.
I heard you. Tang Sihai nodded. Don't worry, Dad, that Ningfan is now a dead man. I, Tang Sihai, am not petty enough to care about a dead man.
Tang Guoqiang sighed. That's good, that's all the Tang family can do. After all, now that Master Xiao is better, it proves that the Jiangcheng underworld will soon return to the Xiao family.
If the Tang family wants to continue to develop in Jiangcheng, they cannot have too many conflicts with them.
He also wants to give Ningfan a grand funeral, but he really has no choice. After all, this matter concerns the future development of the Tang family.
Tang Guoqiang cannot sacrifice the entire Tang family with Ningfan. Qiu. Tang Sihai suddenly saw Tang Qiu rushing out of the room and laughed. You're awake?
But Tang Qiu seemed not to have seen him at all, and rushed straight to the front door of the Tang family mansion.
Tang Qiu. Tang Sihai immediately understood and shouted in a cold voice, stop right there. That brat Ningfan is already dead.
If you go to Qingyun restaurant now, you will only offend the Xiao family.
Do you understand?
Tang Qiu turned around and gritted her teeth, saying, no, Ningfan is not dead.
Chapter 151, how about agreeing to Grandpa this one time? Ningfan is not dead? Tang Sihai was stunned. How could the Xiao family possibly let him go?
And before he and Tang Guoqiang could react, Tang Qiu had already turned around and rushed towards the front door of the Tang residence.
Shan Wu.
The next moment, Tang Sihai shouted, stop her. Soon, a person appeared at the entrance of the mansion, blocking the entire exit and preventing Tang Qiu from going out.
This person was Chen Wu. Get out of the way. Tang Qiu shouted, don't block me.
Chen Wu reached out and blocked the door, silent, with no intention of moving aside.
Qiu. Tang Guoqiang spoke up at this time, how do you know that Ningfan is not dead?
Tang Qiu turned around, her expression agitated, and said, just now, he sent me a message saying that he has already arrived home.
And told me not to worry. Tang Guoqiang frowned. Could it be that the Xiao family, who were not ungrateful, let Ningfan go after he cured the old master?
Tang Qiu, you're really something, you've even learned to lie to your grandfather.
Tang Sihai said coldly, do you think I don't know what you mean?
Said, okay, just wait for me at the door, I will take you in. Since he could satisfy Qin Qiu, he naturally wanted to do his best. He didn't want to see Qin Qiu sad.
Brother. You're so good.
Qin Qiu giggled, then I'll pack up and head out.
Very soon.
She packed up a bit and left the hilltop villa. After Qin Qiu left, Ningfan took out the spirit-gathering bead left by his mother, and a faint light appeared on it. First, he arranged the spirit-gathering bead and the other 3 medicinal herbs. Ningfan muttered softly, in that case, after I get the 200-year-old wild medicinal herb from Luo Mengyao, I can directly activate the spirit-gathering formation.
Chapter 152, Your brother knows Miss Luo. Think and do.
Ningfan directly recalled the method of setting up the spirit-gathering formation left by his mother. This method requires the spirit-gathering bead to be placed in the center of the formation, and the other 4 medicinal herbs to be placed in the 4 corners of the southeast and northwest.
This is the only way to mobilize the spiritual energy of the world around it.
Very quickly. Ning Fan took the spirit gathering bead and walked to the rooftop of the villa, mobilizing the spiritual energy within his body and using the spirit gathering bead as the center of the formation. It took him most of the day to arrange the spirit gathering bead and the 3 herbs. Now there was only the 200-year-old wild medicinal herb in Luo Mengyao's hands left. After taking a look at the gathering spirit formation that was gradually taking shape, Ning Fan's mouth curled up into a smile. As long as that medicinal herb is placed in the eastern corner, it will be able to trigger the gathering spirit formation. At that time, my cultivation speed will increase tenfold. Afterwards, he raised his arm and glanced at the time. It's about time, I should head to the convention center. Luo Mengyao's concert should have already started. He walked out of Hidden Dragon Island, hailed a cab and headed to the convention center. However, Ning Fan underestimated the power of these fans. When there were still 4,000 meters to go before reaching the convention center, there was already traffic jam, and it was all a group of crazy fans heading to the convention center. He could only walk. Ning Fan sighed helplessly, I hope I'll still make it in time. At the entrance to the convention center, 2 girls were waiting under umbrellas. These 2 girls were Qin Qiu and her classmate Lin Shui. Qin Qiu. Lin Shui said impatiently, why hasn't your brother shown up yet? We've been waiting here for almost 20 minutes, and I'm dying of the heat. Qin Qiu smiled and reassured her, it'll be soon. My brother just messaged me, saying that he'll be here soon, he's just caught in traffic. Traffic jam? Lin Shui shrugged, could it be that your brother doesn't even know Luo Mengyao, so he's making up an excuse? Think about it, Luo Mengyao is a big star, and it's the first time she's appeared in our city, so how would your brother know her? The more she thought about it, the more likely it seemed. No way. Although Qin Qiu was also curious about how her brother knew Luo Mengyao, she believed Ning Fan, my brother will definitely be here soon. Lin Shui didn't say anything, but her expression was already impatient. Qin Qiu? Lin Shui? At this time, a voice came from behind, and then the 2 of them turned around. A chubby girl was standing behind them, and next to her was a man in his 20s. When Qin Qiu and Lin Shui saw this girl, their faces looked unnatural. Jia Yushu, their classmate. She always likes to show off and praise herself while belittling others. They never thought that they would run into this girl when they came to see Luo Mengyao's concert today. Why are you standing here? Why aren't you going in? Jia Yushu narrowed her eyes, could it be that you couldn't buy tickets? Upon hearing this, Qin Qiu's faces looked even more difficult to see. They really hadn't been able to buy tickets. Why did you come here if you couldn't buy tickets? Jia Yushu said with a smile, come here to bask in the sun, do you want to get tanned? You guys are really a bit too idle, aren't you? Saying this, she shook the ticket in her hand and showed off, see, my brother knows the staff here and helped me get the ticket. Later, I will be able to go inside and see Luo Mengyao up close, while you will just have to sunbathe here. Hearing this, Qin Qiu couldn't help but retort, so what if we can't get tickets? My brother knows Luo Mengyao, and he will come over and take us in later. In an instant, Jia Yushu and the man next to her froze, and they burst out laughing, your brother knows Luo Mengyao? That's really funny. Do you think your brother is someone important? And he knows Luo Mengyao? That's just a joke. At that moment, Lin Shui's face also looked bad. She also doubted in her heart whether Qin Qiu's brother really knew Luo Mengyao. Ha ha ha. Brother, let's go in. Jia Yushu wrapped her arm around her brothers and looked at Qin Qiu and the other 2 proudly. They were jealous that they could go inside and listen to Luo Mengyao's concert. She even waved the ticket in her hand. What are you so proud of? Lin Shui shrugged, the 2 of you, how can you possibly get in with just 1 ticket? Jia Yushu laughed proudly, my brother knows the staff here, do you think everyone is a liar like Qin Qiu's brother? Then, the 2 of them walked towards the ticket gate. Jia Yushu handed the man the ticket in her hand, thinking that the 2 of them would go in together. At this moment, the staff stopped them, only 1 person can go in with 1 ticket. Instantly, Jia Yushu froze, looking at her brother. Guangzi, what do you mean by this? Jia Yushu's brother said in an unhappy tone, didn't we agree yesterday that 1 ticket would let 2 people in? Now you're making me lose face, aren't you? The staff member glanced at Lin Lao next to him and whispered, do you see that old man? He was addressed as Lin Lao by Miss Luo, and now it seems that a VIP has arrived, so Miss Luo has asked him to come out and greet him. Upon hearing this, Jia Yushu and the other were shocked. My goodness, what kind of VIP has arrived that Miss Luo has sent someone out to greet him? They looked a little envious.
So, it's not that I'm not giving you face. Guangzi said with a bitter smile, it's really something I have to do. If I open the back door for you and let Lao Lin see it, I'll have to lose this job. Upon hearing this, Jia Yushu and the other person stopped talking, their faces looking a little unnatural. Ha ha ha. Lin Shui, who had been watching the scene, burst out laughing. Didn't you say that you could get 2 people in with 1 ticket? Now why aren't you going in? Jia Yushu couldn't help but speak out. That's better than you and this braggart Qin Qiu. If her brother really knew Luo Mengyao, would you still be standing here in the sun? Then she looked at Guangzi and her eyes twinkled. Brother Guangzi, these 2 people were just lying in Miss Luo's name, shouldn't you get rid of them? Guangzi looked at Qin Qiu and Lin Shui and asked directly, do you know Miss Luo? Qin Qiu nodded, yes. She believed that her brother was not lying to her. Bullshit. Guangzi said coldly, if your brother knew Miss Luo, would he still be standing here for 20 minutes in the sun? He would have been invited in by Lin Lao a long time ago. Understand? Get out of here now, or don't blame me for having you thrown out. Chapter 153, I won't fall for it. After hearing Guangzi's words, Qin Qiu's body trembled with anger. Why didn't these people believe her? Qin Qiu, Lin Shui, did you hear that? Jia Yushu said with a smug smile, Guangzi is a staff member here, and he is telling you to get lost now. Don't embarrass yourself here anymore. It's really laughable that your brother knows Miss Luo. She couldn't wait to see Qin Qiu and Lin Shui driven away. If that happened, once you went back to school and spread the word, Qin Qiu and Lin Shui would definitely lose face. Qin Qiu. It's all your brother's fault. Lin Shui was angry. If he doesn't know Luo Mengyao, then so be it, but why did he have to brag in front of you? Now it's great, not only did we waste so much time in the sun for nothing, but now we're also humiliated like this. It makes me so angry. Her anger made her voice tremble. How could you have such a brother? Qin Qiu bit her lower lip and didn't say a word. Did her brother really lie to her? How could he? Qiu, I'm sorry, I'm late. At that moment, Ning Fan arrived, and she quickly walked over to Qin Qiu and apologized. Brother! Qin Qiu saw Ning Fan and her face lit up with joy. You're here. They all said you didn't know Luo Mengyao. Ning Fan reached out and rubbed her head, smiling. Your brother never lies to you. I didn't expect there to be traffic, so I'm a little late. Come on, I'll take you in now. But Ning Fan hadn't even started yet. Wait. Lin Shui stopped Ning Fan. Where's the ticket? Ning Fan was momentarily stunned. What ticket? Lin Shui was speechless. How can you take Qin Qiu into Luo Mengyao's concert without a ticket? You don't think you can just walk in, do you? At this moment, Jia Yushu and her brother also looked at Ning Fan with ridicule. They were afraid that he was not a fool, that he didn't even have a ticket and yet he said he knew Miss Luo? What a joke! Yes. Unexpectedly, Ning Fan nodded and said, I don't need a ticket to go in. As Ning Fan's voice fell, these people around him were silent at first, and then Lin Shui laughed angrily. Why are you such a bragger? You can go in without a ticket. What do you think you are, some big shot? As she spoke, she looked at Qin Qiu and gritted her teeth, saying, Qin Qiu, if you believe your brother, then just follow him in. I'm not going. I'm not going to be such a disgrace by following him. She felt that if Ning Fan were to walk towards the convention center with Qin Qiu, he would definitely be thrown out. If that really happened, she would be so humiliated. Ha ha ha. Jia Yushu reacted and mocked, my brother can't even get me in with a ticket, and you're thinking about strutting in there with nothing, what a pipe dream. She looked at Guangzi and asked with a smile, Brother Guangzi, if they walk in without a ticket, will they be thrown out? Brother Guangzi narrowed his eyes and stared at Ning Fan and the other person. Of course. No one can go inside the convention center without a ticket. However, Ning Fan didn't pay any attention to these people at all. He took Qin Qiu's hand and kept walking towards the entrance of the convention center. All he had to do was to make Qiu happy. As for the others, they were none of his business. Soon, the people around them looked at Ning Fan with glee, enjoying the show. They seemed to have already seen the scene of the 2 siblings being thrown out next. Qin Qiu is really stupid. Lin Shui watched as Qin Qiu really wanted to follow Ning Fan in, and glared viciously at the back of Ning Fan's head. I have never seen a brother like you before, taking your own sister to be humiliated. You are simply not qualified to be Qin Qiu's brother.
Ning Fan didn't even have a ticket, so at this point Lin Shui no longer thought that Ning Fan would have met Luo Mengyao.
This is simply a fantasy. Stop! Guangzi shouted, "Boy, are you really going to force your way in?"
Ning Fan stopped and looked at Guangzi. "You can call Luo Mengyao and ask to see if she invited me."
Guangzi snorted, "Let me call Miss Luo and disturb her? Do you think you are qualified to do that?"
"I can tell you, as long as you dare to take another step forward, I will send someone over to throw you out."
Ning Fan frowned. "Brother." Qin Qiu grabbed Ning Fan's hand and whispered, "Why don't we not go in?"
"I don't want to watch this Luo Mengyao's concert tour."
"Let's go home and cook something to eat, I'm hungry."
She was afraid that if she stayed with her brother for a while, she would really be thrown out, and then she would embarrass her brother. Qin Qiu blamed herself, knowing that if that was the case, she would not have mentioned this matter to her brother. Ning Fan patted her hand and comforted her, "Relax. Since your brother promised you, he will definitely do it."
Suddenly,
his gaze flicked up and he saw Lin Meng standing on the other side of the convention center.
He seemed to be waiting for someone. Lin Lao. Then, Ning Fan looked at him and shouted directly, "Is Luo Mengyao here?" Immediately afterwards,
Lin Meng turned his head. When he saw Ning Fan, his eyes lit up, and he quickly walked towards him.
However, Guangzi and the others sneered. "Kid," he said viciously, "don't think I don't know what you're thinking. Are you trying to scare me so you can sneak in with your sister? Don't even think about it, I won't fall for it. And I'll show you what happens if you try to force your way into the convention center." Clap, clap, clap. He clapped his hands, and then the security guards who were patrolling the convention center gathered around. They were holding electric batons in their hands. "This is bad."
Lin Shui shook her head. Qin Qiu is going to get into trouble because of this. Jia Yushu spoke viciously, "Kill that little bitch, and it would be best if you broke her face, so that way, I don't think any of the boys in class will look at her again." Qin Qiu is pretty, and she is easily liked by the boys in class, so Jia Yushu has long been jealous of her.
"Destroy them for me."
Guangzi sneered, "I'd like to see if anyone dares to force their way in again after destroying the two of them."
At this moment,
Ning Fan protected Qin Qiu behind him and coldly said, "I advise you to wait until Lin Lao comes over before you make a move." However, no one took Ning Fan's words to heart. They had already rushed to Ning Fan's front, and they could see the electric batons about to fall on Ning Fan.
"Stop." Suddenly, Lin Meng's angry voice came, "Who gave you permission to lay a hand on Mr. Ning? Get the hell out of here." Chapter 154, Showing Up Late.
As Lin Meng's voice fell, the movements of the security guards who were planning to act were halted.
The next moment,
before anyone could react, Lin Meng quickly ran up to Ning Fan and said with a smile, "Mr. Ning, you said that you came over here without even calling Miss Luo.
Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened."
The day before, he had looked down on Ning Fan and thought he was just blowing hot air, but after seeing Luo Mengyao's red spots on her face disappear completely the day before and not experiencing the pain in the middle of the night like before, he was convinced. This Mr. Ning is truly a miracle doctor. So at this moment, his attitude towards Ning Fan was as respectful as it could be, hoping to learn some medical skills from him. Thinking that he wouldn't cause her trouble, he didn't hit her. Ning Fan casually said, "However, the staff you arranged seems to be not very good, and they still dare to bully my sister."
Upon hearing this,
Guangzi's body shook, cold sweat appeared on his back, and his eyes were full of fear.
Damn it, is the person in front of him the big shot that old Lin was waiting for here? Get out!
Soon, Lin Meng turned around and shouted at Guangzi, "If you dare to appear in front of Mr. Ning again, I'll make you disappear." Guangzi originally wanted to explain, but after hearing this, he quickly turned around and fled.
And them. Ning Fan pointed at Jia Yushu, "How can someone with no quality get into Luo Mengyao's tour concert?"
Lin Meng spoke again, "Your tickets are invalid, so get lost. As long as you can stabilize Ning Fan at this time, you must not offend such a great doctor." Jia Yushu and the other woman's eyes went dark. They never expected that in the end, even the tickets in their hands were invalidated, and they were completely unable to enter to watch Luo Mengyao's tour. She regretted it. If she had known, she would never have bragged in front of Qin Qiu and the others.
"Mr. Ning." Lin Meng laughed, saying, "I hope you are satisfied now." Ning Fan nodded, saying, "Xiao Qiu, shall we go in?"
Qin Qiu followed Ning Fan blankly as he walked towards the convention center.
Wait for me."
Lin Shui reacted and hurriedly followed behind, grinning at Lin Meng and saying, "I'm a classmate of Qin Qiu's, and her brother is my brother.
I should be able to go in, right?" Ningfan looked at Lin Shui speechlessly.
This girl really has a thick skin, but he didn't care. She was just a little girl, and she was a classmate of Xiao Qiu's, so he couldn't be angry.
The middle of the night?
Qin Qiu and Lin Su looked suspiciously at the backstage entrance, waiting for the woman speaking outside to walk in.
"Mr. Ning, why don't you go back now and come find me tonight to get?"
At that moment, the voice came again, but it quickly stopped.
And at that moment,
Qin Qiu and Lin Shui also saw the owner of the voice.
Their eyes quickly went blank with disbelief. Luo Mengyao.
They really didn't expect that the woman who had just spoken those words outside was actually the big star Luo Mengyao.
Qin Qiu.
Lin Shui's eyes went blank. Qin Qiu asked in a voice that only she could hear, "You're not trying to tell me that your sister-in-law is Luo Mengyao, are you?"
Little did she know.
Even Qin Qiu was shocked at this point.
What was going on? She clearly remembered that her brother's girlfriend was Sister Chu Chu. How could the superstar Luo Mengyao say these things to her brother now? Soon, her gaze at Luo Mengyao was full of vigilance.
Sister Chu Chu had been very good to her, and she could not let her brother be taken away by another woman.
"Mr. Ning, who are they?" Luo Mengyao quickly reacted, asking in confusion, "The people you brought?" Ningfan nodded and said, "Yes, my sister. And don't say anything else.
I came here today to get that 200-year-old wild medicinal herb.
Just bring it out."
Ningfan's sister was here, so Luo Mengyao didn't feel comfortable teasing this simple young man anymore. She had no choice but to hand over the herb directly to Ningfan. Ningfan reached out and took the 200-year-old wild medicinal herb, feeling the rich spiritual energy within it. A smile rose to the corner of his mouth as he said, "Thank you." He then led Qin Qiu away from here, leaving Luo Mengyao momentarily dazed.
She then said with resentment, "This little man really is full of that herb. I'm like air in front of her. Which other man doesn't hate to look at himself a few times more?"
Only Ningfan has always been indifferent to himself, which has made Luo Mengyao lose confidence. She had no idea that at the moment Ningfan got the 200-year-old wild medicinal herb, all he could think about was triggering the spirit gathering array, so how would he care about anything else? After leaving the convention and exhibition center, he couldn't wait and hurried with Qin Qiu towards the villa on Hidden Dragon Island.
Jiangcheng. The top of the villa on Hidden Dragon Island.
Two figures stood in midair, surveying the villa before them with furrowed brows.
"Qinyu, are you sure the little princess's aura was here before?"
The old man on the right asked in a deep voice.
"How could the mistress be here in this remote place with the little princess?" Qinyu nodded and replied, "I'm very sure. There is definitely the aura of the little princess's bloodline here." "Wait.
The little princess's aura is approaching us." Suddenly, his gaze fell on the mountains of Hidden Dragon Island, and soon he saw the siblings Ningfan and Qin Qiu.
At the same time,
Ningfan's hair stood on end, and he felt an extremely dangerous aura enveloping him. Since he had entered the immortal cultivation sect, this was the first time he had felt such a dangerous aura. He looked up at the direction from which this dangerous aura came, and soon saw the two elderly men in midair.
They were powerful.
These were powerful people who could fly in midair just like their mother.
Swish.
As Ningfan was shocked, the two figures disappeared. When they reappeared, they were standing less than 10 meters in front of Ningfan and his sister.
Xinyu stared at Qin Qiu, his eyes aglow, and said excitedly, "You really are the little princess."
Ningfan subconsciously took Qin Qiu behind him and spoke warily, "Who are you people?"
"Little princess."
Xinyu didn't even answer Ningfan, but respectfully said to Qin Qiu, "For the past 16 years, we have been searching for you. After sensing your breath yesterday, we immediately rushed over from the Qinhuang clan. Please, little princess, follow us back to the clan."
"The Qinhuang clan needs you." "Qinhuang clan?"
Ningfan stared at the two old men, a little shocked.
Who were these people? And what was this Qinhuang clan they were talking about? And why did they call Xiao Qiu little princess?
At the moment, Ningfan was full of doubts.
"I don't know you."
Qin Qiu spoke crisply, "I will not leave with you." At once, Qinyu became anxious. "As the little princess of our Qin imperial clan, you should not be living in such a remote place. This place is not worthy of your precious body, and only a royal place can match it." Qin Qiu still refused. "I don't know what you're talking about, but I won't leave my brother.
I want to always be by his side."
"Brother?" Qin Qiu and the other man's gazes fell instantly on Ningfan. The next moment, he took a step forward, and before Ningfan could react, he had already reached out and grabbed his arm.
No!
Qin Qiu shook his head and said, "You don't have any Qin family blood in you, and you are not the little princess's brother. You are so weak, and you don't deserve to be a descendant of our Qin imperial clan."
Weak?
Since embarking on the path of cultivation, this was the first time Ningfan had been called that, and he stared straight at Qin Qiu.
Little princess.
After that, Qin Qiu never looked at Ningfan again, and once again turned to Qin Qiu and said, "I know that for the past 16 years, you have been living outside, so you don't have a sense of belonging to our Qin Huang clan. But I can tell you bluntly that as long as you follow us back, you will have the best cultivation resources and become a top-level powerful being as quickly as possible. At that time, you will know that everything you have here is not worth mentioning at all."
However,
he had no idea that Qin Qiu had never been in contact with cultivation and had no idea what he was talking about. "Brother, these two are so strange, I don't understand what they're saying." Qin Qiu smiled and said to Ningfan, "Can we go home? I'm hungry."
She didn't want to deal with these two old men anymore. "Okay, let's go home."
Ningfan reached out and touched Qin Qiu's head. "Brother will cook for you." He didn't know who these two old men really were, and he didn't want to know what they meant by the Qin Emperor clan and the little princess.
But Ningfan will never let Xiaoqiu leave his side.
He wants to protect her, so that when he sees his mother again, he can give her an explanation.
Seeing that Ningfan and Qin Qiu were really leaving, the expressions of the two men, Qin Qiu and Qin Qiu, sank.
As the little princess, her status and talent are a waste to stay in such a remote place.
Little princess.
Qin Qiu looked at Qin Qiu, pointed his finger, and whispered, "I'm sorry."
Chapter 156, 4 years. Qin Yu's voice fell.
A flash of light appeared from his fingertips and landed directly on the back of Qin Qiu's head.
Immediately afterwards, she fainted. The next moment, the old man on the right extended his palm, and Qin Qiu already appeared in front of him. "Qiu."
Ningfan's anger came from the bottom of his heart.
"What have you done to Qiu?"
Ningfan mobilized the strength of his entire body, and the power of the third level of refining qi exploded without restraint, all concentrated in the palm of his hand. He raised his fist sharply and smashed it towards Qin Qiu. This punch carried a strong momentum, but Qin Qiu just waved his hand and blocked Ningfan's fist, even making the momentum in his body disappear completely. At this moment, Ningfan looked at the two elderly men in front of him, and his heart was filled with surging emotions. He stared at the two of them. They were definitely the strongest people Ningfan had encountered since embarking on the path of cultivation. "You kid is quite a surprise."
Qin Qiu glanced at Ningfan. "I didn't expect that you, with such a weak body, would have such power.
It seems that you are not useless after all. Don't worry, she is the little princess of our Qin Huang clan, no one will bully her, on the contrary, she will obtain the best cultivation resources and become as strong as us. Back then, you and the little princess were from two different worlds." Ningfan's pupils were bloodshot as he coldly said, "I don't want Qiu to become some kind of strong person, I just want her to be by my side, happy and joyful.
I don't care who you are, I, Ningfan, will protect my sister." The old man on the right sneered, "You can't even protect yourself, so what makes you think you can protect the little princess? Do you know that people like you are like ants that can be stepped on at will in our Qin clan?"
Ningfan clenched his fists, speechless. These two old men in front of him were indeed so strong that they made him despair.
Qin Mu was right.
Qin Qiu also spoke, calmly saying, "Perhaps someone with your strength is considered a master in this remote place. But if you step outside, you will realize that you are just a frog in a well.
The outside world is vast, and there are too many powerful people.
Not only can our Qin family feel the bloodline aura of the little princess, soon, other royal families will also feel it. If she stays here, she will only be caught in endless danger. Right now, you can't even hurt a single hair on our body with all your strength.
What makes you think you can protect the little princess from those powerful people?
If you really care about the little princess, let her leave with us and go to the Qin clan. Once she starts cultivating, she will have the strength to protect herself."
Ningfan was silent. They were right. But they were strangers who had just appeared out of nowhere, so why should he believe them? "Qin Yu, don't waste your breath on these insignificant ants." Qin Mu said disdainfully, "Go back.
I'll spare your life for your loyalty. Where's it? He will definitely not be able to see the slightest bit of his own body." Ningfan nodded. At this time he was full of concern about the matter of Xiaoqiu, and just wanted to go home as soon as possible after treating Zhang Rushuet.
Very soon. He put on the blindfold, activated the Zijin Divine Eyes, and began to massage Jiang Rushua's snow-white skin, forcing the cold energy that had built up inside her out of her body. With the experience from the last time, Ningfan's movements were much smoother, and he had also broken through to the third level of qi cultivation. This time, it only took him 15 minutes to delay Jiang Rushua's illness for half a month. When Jiang Rushua got dressed and came out, "Miss Jiang," Ningfan said, "your illness is very strange. Even now, I can't tell what exactly caused it. So, just like last time, I've pushed back your illness for another half month." Jiang Rushua nodded and looked at him expectantly. Then, "Ningfan, can you find a complete solution as soon as possible?" Ningfan said, "Miss Jiang, I'll do my best. Also, if you're done here, I'll go home first, I still have some things to take care of." Then he turned around and left Hidden Dragon Island Villa number 2, went straight to the villa at the top of the mountain, and Jiang Rushua just stood in front of the window the whole time, watching him walk into the villa at the top of the mountain. "President Jiang." At this time, Zhang Xiaoxiao's voice came from behind. "I didn't expect the Tang family to care about Ningfan so much that they even gave him the villa at the top of the mountain. They can't really be planning to let Ningfan become the Tang family's son-in-law, right? If that's really the case, how are you going to explain it to the old man?" Jiang Rushua shook her head and said, "We'll talk about it when the time comes. I don't want to think too far ahead about this matter, because no one can predict what the future will bring." Zhang Xiaoxiao let out a bitter smile. Indeed, in addition to being concerned about business matters, President Jiang doesn't care about anything else at all. "Right, President Jiang." Zhang Xiaoxiao suddenly thought of something and hesitated. "You clearly took Ningfan home step by step, so why did you say that it was the bodyguard?" "Yes." At the time, Jiang Rushua was the first person to see Ningfan after he fainted, and she then appeared by his side and brought him back home. "Do you think Ningfan should know about this?" Jiang Rushua looked at Zhang Xiaoxiao and said calmly, "Xiaoxiao, there are some things you can say, but there are also things you can't say." Then, she started walking and went over to the sofa. "Bring the joint project proposal between our Jiang and Tang families over here, I want to take another look." After returning to the mountain villa, Ningfan stood in the living room, inexplicably feeling a sense of loneliness. He stared straight at the sofa. "Brother, how could you be so careless? Really, brother, you're bullying me. Brother, look at this bear, it's so funny." One after another, the past days with Xiuqiu and the villa appeared before Ningfan's eyes. For a moment, a sense of sadness welled up in his heart. "Back off. There will never be Xiuqiu's laughter in this villa again, and he, Ningfan, will be all alone." Thinking of Qin Qiu, misty water appeared in Ningfan's eyes. He didn't know what kind of life Xiuqiu was living now that she had left with those two old men, and whether she was being bullied. She had never lived alone before, so would she be able to take care of herself? "Xiuqiu." Ningfan clenched his fists and muttered in a low voice, "Brother will improve his strength as soon as possible, find the so-called Qinhuang clan, and appear by your side. By then, I will still protect you and let you be the happy Xiuqiu you once were." Immediately afterwards, he took out the 200-year-old wild medicinal herbs he had just taken from Luo Mengyao and placed them in the eastern corner. The next moment, a faint light appeared, and the spirit gathering array was triggered. Ningfan looked up, and soon saw that there was a strong aura around him that was constantly being sucked into the spirit gathering array, covering at least a radius of 10 li. Moreover, this strong aura soon formed a dense white fog that drifted inside the mountain villa, instantly making it look like a fairyland. The spirit gathering formation was complete, and the aura was so strong. Ningfan was excited at the strong aura he felt in the mountain villa. He could feel that all his pores were opened up, making him feel incredibly clear. My mom really didn't lie to me. Ningfan practiced the swallowing the sky technique, frantically absorbing the aura in the air. His expression was agitated. My cultivation speed has really increased more than tenfold compared to before. Thinking about this, he murmured softly, Xiaoqiu, wait for me, I will definitely find you. Your destiny can only be decided by yourself. I will never allow someone else to control your destiny, no matter how strong they are. And Mom and Dad, one day, I will bring Xiuqiu with me and find you, to catch up with the heights you are at. Our family will reunite. With this spiritual gathering formation, the spiritual energy within Ningfan is condensing at an extremely fast rate. He is sitting on the ground, constantly improving his strength. When Ningfan finished his cultivation, it was already night. He had not yet reached the realm of fasting, so he still needed to supplement his diet with some grains and vegetables.
He got up and was about to find something to eat when he suddenly noticed that in the corner where 200-year-old wild medicinal herbs were placed, there was a drop of liquid that was constantly condensing and finally dripped onto the ground. Ning Fan reached out and tried to hold the liquid in the palm of his hand, and he actually felt a weak aura from it. This liquid. Ning Fan looked up and took a look at the spirit gathering array. Was it because the spirit gathering array had formed that the weak spiritual energy had condensed? The weak spiritual energy in these droplets is useless to me. I wonder if it will have any effect on ordinary people. Thinking about this, he picked up 2 cups and caught the droplets of liquid. Ding ding. At this time, his phone rang. It was Wang Ya calling.
Mr. Ning.
Wang Ya on the other end of the phone sounded a little weak. I'm sorry, I've let you down. There's a tough guy here, I'm no match for him. I've been seriously injured and won't be able to move for a month, so I won't be able to take down the Jiangcheng underworld for you within the next half-month.
Ning Fan frowned and asked, where are you right now? Wang Ya's voice grew weaker. I'm at Jiangcheng First Hospital. Ning Fan said directly, wait for me, I'll be right there. Chapter 158, Useful. In any case, Wang Ya also listened to him and went to control the underworld. Now that she has been injured, Ning Fan cannot just sit back and do nothing. He directly planned to get up and go to the hospital, but then he saw the liquid in the bottle, and his heart slightly moved. He could let Wang Ya try what effect the liquid had. He reached out and picked up the bottle, put the cap on, and then headed to the first hospital. Soon, he saw Wang Ya lying on the bed. Instantly, a chill came over him, and at that moment, Wang Ya's body was almost completely covered in scars from head to toe, looking extremely miserable. Mr. Ning.
Seeing that it was Ning Fan who had walked in, Wang Ya hurriedly got up and apologized. I'm sorry, it's my lack of skill that has brought you shame. Ning Fan waved his hand and said, this is not the time to talk about this, I'll treat you first. Wang Ya smiled bitterly and said, Mr. Ning, why don't you go over there and settle things in the 3rd district of Jiangcheng first? As for the injuries I have, there's no rush.
The doctors here can also heal me.
Ning Fan said indifferently, you were injured for my sake, and I can't stand to see you in pain for a month.
I can make you stand up today.
He planned to first try the liquid produced in the spirit gathering formation and see if Wang Ya would be able to drink it or apply it to her body and see if it would have an effect on her injuries. If it doesn't work, he will try it himself.
In any case, he will make Wang Ya better today.
Just from the fact that Wang Ya was willing to go against the Xiao family for her own sake at the banquet, she is worth it.
Healer Ning.
I know you have extremely strong medical skills, but the injuries on Miss Wan's body are different from those of the old man.
At this time,
a middle-aged man in a blue coat appeared before Ning Fan and questioned him, saying, the bones in her body are all broken.
No one can put them back together in a short time. As a doctor, you should be responsible for your patients and not make big promises. This person is the dean of this city's top hospital, Du Tianmin.
Ning Fan is the Ning doctor of Chinese medicine who participated in the competition. Du Tianmin had heard Zhao Yuantang mention this before, and at that time, he also thought that Ning Fan would be a rising star in the world of Chinese medicine.
However,
now, after suddenly hearing what Ning Fan said, he was disappointed in Ning Fan. A single victory had made him delusional, and he had even said such absurd things. How was it possible to heal Wang Ya, who had broken her bone, in a short period of time?
Mr. Ning.
Wang Ya also smiled bitterly and said, just as Dean Du said, I can clearly feel my own physical condition, and my bone is broken in many places. It is impossible to heal it at the first opportunity, so I don't want you to waste your time on me. Ning Fan smiled, don't worry, I can find a way to cure you.
President Du, do you have any cotton swabs? Bring me some, okay? Du Tianmin watched as Ning Fan, undeterred, still decided to cure Wang Ya.
He couldn't help but frown, and he quickly became more and more disappointed in Ning Fan.
Divine Dr. Ning.
He said flatly, I can bring the cotton swabs over, but if anything else happens to Miss Wang Ya, it has nothing to do with our hospital. He was afraid that Ning Fan would disclaim responsibility as soon as possible in order to show off in front of Wang Ya and cause her problems.
Good.
Ning Fan nodded, I'll trouble you, Dean Du.
Subsequently,
Du Tianmin left, and not long after, he returned, brought the cotton swab over, and handed it to Ning Fan. Ning Fan took the cotton swab, took the bottle of liquid, and walked over to the bed, poured it into a disposable cup, and handed it to Wang Ya, drink it and see.
Wang Ya took it and glanced at it.
The liquid was blue, with a faint mist floating on top, which was somewhat different from water. She knew that Ning Fan would not harm her, so she directly drank the entire cup of liquid. She wasn't sure if it was her imagination, but even though it felt cold to the touch, after entering her body, it gradually began to feel hot.
Divine Dr. Ning.
Seeing Ning Fan let Wang Ya drink the liquid and then take no further action, he couldn't help but frown and say, "You don't think that after Miss Wang Ya drinks this liquid, the bones in her body will be able to bond together, do you?"
Ning Fan didn't say anything, but looked at Wang Ya and asked, "How do you feel now?"
This was the first time he had asked someone to drink the liquid produced in the spirit gathering formation, so he wasn't quite sure about the effects of the liquid.
"I just feel like my body is burning up."
Wang Ya felt the situation in her body carefully and said, "And there is a sense of tearing. It hurts, but I can still bear it." After hearing Wang Ya's words, Ning Fan directly activated the Zijin Divine Eye, and gradually saw the situation inside her body through Wang Ya's clothes. Immediately, his expression brightened. "It works." He can only see that the liquid was constantly causing Wang Ya's bones to bond together. At the current rate, it would take less than 10 minutes for her broken bones to bond together. This discovery could not help but make Ning Fan's heart race. If the effect of this liquid were to spread, it would definitely cause a sensation.
"Lie still."
Ning Fan smiled and said, "The bones in your body are continuously bonding. Now I will wipe away the external wounds and see if this liquid can restore the surface of your body to its original state."
"The bones are bonding?" Du Tianmin was first stunned and then shook his head.
He became more and more disappointed with Ning Fan.
"Calling you a miracle healer, do you really think you are a miracle healer? With those liquids, how is it possible to make Wang Ya's broken bones stick together in just a few minutes? No matter how he looks at it, he just thinks it's a tall tale."
Wang Ya could clearly feel the changes in her body, and now that she heard Ning Fan's words, she just laid down directly, not knowing if Mr. Ning could really heal her in a short period of time. Ning Fan quickly wiped the liquids on Wang Ya's body surface, and it seemed that there was a rising mist, and Wang Ya's body began to gradually change.
It didn't take long.
It was as if the blue liquid had penetrated Wang Ya's body and slowly disappeared. The scars on her body also disappeared. After just 5 minutes, all the scars on Wang Ya's body had disappeared, and they were replaced by skin that was as smooth and delicate as milk. Ning Fan's mouth curled up. These liquids are really something.
This. Du Tianmin couldn't help but exclaim after seeing this scene, how could there be such a miraculous medicine in the world that could make her scars disappear so quickly? Chapter 159, Otherwise. It wasn't just Du Tianmin who was shocked.
Even Wang Ya, after seeing her smooth and delicate skin, was stunned. "My skin is now even better than before.
This is really unbelievable. Who would have imagined that just 5 minutes ago, Wang Ya was still a bloody mess covered in scars? Get up and move around."
Ning Fan said with a smile, "See how you
feel."
Upon hearing this, Du Tianmin looked at Wang Ya, his eyes fixed.
The liquid was able to turn the wounds on Wang Ya's body into smooth and delicate skin in 5 minutes, but could it really also bond the bones together? Wang Ya hesitated for a moment, gritted her teeth, and got up. However, this time, she didn't feel any pain at all. It was very smooth. At this moment, Wang Ya was shocked. She swung her arm, and was able to gather internal strength. "Mr. Ning," Wang Ya said excitedly, "I'm fine, my bones are really fine. My goodness, Mr. Ning, this liquid is truly amazing." She has never seen such an amazing liquid before. Du Tianmin's gaze had become vacant. How was this possible? But soon, he looked at Ning Fan, his eyes burning with excitement. If something like this were to get out, it would definitely cause a sensation. "Dr. Ning, where did you obtain this kind of thing?" Du Tianmin asked, even changing his tone. "Do you still have any in your hands?" Ning Fan smiled. "There is more." Du Tianmin said bluntly, "Dr. Ning, do you think I could buy some of this liquid? I want to try it out with other illnesses." Ning Fan nodded. "Yes, I will arrange someone to take care of this later, and then you can buy it, Dean Du." "That's great." Du Tianmin rubbed his palms. "In that case, I won't disturb Mr. Ning and Miss Wang Ya. I'll leave first." "Very soon." He turned around and left. "Who beat you up like that?" Ning Fan looked at Wang Ya and frowned. "With your strength, you shouldn't have been hurt like that in Zhangcheng." With the strength of the 4th level of internal strength of Master Xiao, he could become the emperor of the Zhangcheng underworld. It can be imagined that there are definitely not many masters in Zhangcheng. And Wang Ya, as a strong 2nd level internal strength person, is now beaten up like this, so naturally Ning Fan is puzzled. It was Chao Hu, the boss of the 3rd district of Jiangcheng, who teamed up with the bosses of other districts to do it. When it came to this matter, Wang Ya's face looked terrible.
They thought that Mr. Ning wanted me to use force to eliminate them and take control of the Jiangqing underworld, so they took the lead in finding a master, the owner of Weilong Martial Arts Academy, Ma Huijun. The other party is a third-level internal strength master. I am no match for him.
Third-level internal strength?
Ningfan raised an eyebrow. Sure enough, there is more than just Master Xiao practicing martial arts in Jiangcheng, there are others.
Ningfan glanced at Wang Ya and said coldly, "Is this Ma Huijun the one who beat you up like this?"
Wang Ya shook her head and her eyes were full of anger. She said, "These injuries were caused by Chao Hu and his men. They took advantage of the fact that I was weak and beat me up with their fists and feet, and even hit me with a steel rod.
If my people hadn't arrived in time, I'm afraid you wouldn't have seen me again."
Ningfan's eyes flashed with coldness.
These people really know how to hit hard. Ding ding.
At this time, Wang Ya's phone suddenly rang, and it was her subordinate Lu Sanlang calling.
"Sister Ya."
On the other end of the phone, Lu Sanlang's breathless voice sounded, "Hurried, you must escape.
It's best to escape from Jiangcheng.
I just heard the news, Xiao Hu and those people have gone crazy, and he is now leading people to surround us. I'm afraid my brothers can't hold out, and then even you, Sister Ya, will be in trouble."
Upon hearing this, Wang Ya clutched her phone tightly, breathing heavily and trembling.
She had finally gained the power she had today on this side of Jiangcheng, so how could she possibly want to watch it be destroyed by someone else?
Ningfan suddenly spoke up, "If I take care of Ma Huijun for you, can you use force to take control of the Jiangcheng underworld this time?"
Before, he hadn't thought of letting Wang Ya take control of the Jiangcheng underworld by force, but rather, he had planned for her to control those people with benefits. But now that they have taken the initiative to do it, it's no wonder that he blames Ningfan.
Wang Ya looked up at Ningfan and promptly nodded firmly, saying, "Yes.
Mr. Ning, as long as Ma Huijun is dealt with, I can take control of the Jiangcheng underworld by force." Hearing Wang Ya's reply, Ningfan nodded with satisfaction, saying, "In that case, get up and go over there."
Jiangcheng, District 7. The doors to the Night Rose Bar are tightly shut. Inside, the atmosphere was a little low.
Lu Sanlang and the others looked at the group of people at the door through the window, their faces looking extremely ugly. Opposite them were Chao Hu and the others, and by his side was an old man, the owner of the Weilong Martial Arts School, Ma Huijun.
"Old Ma."
Chao Hu spoke to Ma Huijun, "Please, as long as you break this door, I will immediately give you what I promised you."
Ma Huijun nodded, "Okay. Then."
He took a few big steps forward, gradually approaching the door of the Night Rose Bar. Soon, the aura of a third-level Qi refiner emanated from his body.
"This Chao Hu, he's not thinking of breaking down the door of our Night Rose Bar with this old man, is he?"
Lu Sanlang glanced at Ma Huijun and coldly said, If they want to force their way in through the window, that's still a way to do it. Just letting this old man take the lead, how is he going to break down the door of our Night Rose Bar?"
Not only him.
The rest of the people in the Night Rose Bar also felt that Chao Hu had been kicked in the head by a donkey.
Otherwise, how could he let Ma Huijun come up alone? However,
the next moment, Ma Huijun pushed out a palm, and then he was seen to land on the door of the Night Rose Bar with his palm. This door suddenly began to have fine cracks appear.
For a moment, the faces of Lu Sanlang and the others changed. How is this possible? This old man cracked the door with a single palm strike. Are they hallucinating? Ha ha, worthy of the name Old Ma.
Chao Hu laughed loudly. "Please strike again, Old Ma." Ma Huijun nodded and struck again. The cracks on the door became more and more obvious.
Boom!
With a third palm strike, the door collapsed with a loud crash. In an instant, Lu Sanlang and the others' faces turned pale and their bodies trembled.
Is this fucking still a human being? Thank you, La Ma, for your help.
Chao Hu laughed loudly, then he looked at Lu Sanlang and the others and laughed maniacally. Wang Ya has already been beaten up and sent to the hospital.
If you know what's good for you, you will hand over Districts 6 and 7 to me yourself. Otherwise, you will only have one way out today, death. Chapter 160, He Who Knows the Times is a Hero. A Dead End.
After hearing Chao Hu's arrogant words, Lu Sanlang and the others all had a serious look in their eyes. Especially after seeing Ma Huijun standing over there, they felt a tingling in their scalp. This person just used 3 palm strikes to blast open the bar's door, and he is extremely strong. Could it be that today they really have to hand over
the 6th and 7th districts of Jiangqing to Chao Hu? You have 10 seconds to choose.
Chao Hu smiled arrogantly and said, "Either you let us in obediently, or you will die."
As for thinking that Wang Ya will come and save you? Don't daydream like that. Time is running out. Lu Sanlang and the others didn't say a word. I'll get out of the way.
At this moment, someone suddenly raised their hand and said, Boss Chow, I am willing to respect you as the boss of the 6th and 7th districts of Jiangcheng in the future.
Instantly, everyone's gaze fell on this person. Lu Sanlang trembled with anger when he saw this person's face. Yulong, Sister Ya usually treats you so well, and even lets you be the second in command, and now you're going to betray her? Yulong, the second in command under Wang Ya.
Ever since Wang Ya took control of the 6th district of Jiangcheng, it has been Yulong who has been in charge.
It can be said that if it weren't for Wang Ya, there would be no Yulong today. Lu Sanlang never imagined that Yulong would be the first to betray Sister Ya. Sister Ya? She's just a bitch.
I've expressed my thoughts to her so many times, but she never even gave me a second glance. Yulong grinned hideously. How long has that Mr. Ning been around, and Wang Ya already wants to strip naked and lie on his bed?
How can a bitch like her expect me to work for her? He said.
He looked at Chao Hu and licked his lips and said, Boss Chao, if I take over the 6th and 7th districts of Jiangcheng for you, can you send Wang Ya to my bed so I can enjoy her? Just thinking about Wang Ya's devilish figure, he can't stand it anymore.
Ha ha ha. Good.
Chao Hu laughed loudly and said, Yulong, as long as you help me take over the 6th and 7th districts of Jiangcheng, I won't treat you badly, and we'll enjoy it together then. Yulong smiled and said, Boss Chao, there's an exit behind this bar that Wang Ya set up just in case, so you should arrange for some people to be there as soon as possible.
Otherwise, I'm afraid these people will escape. Boom.
After hearing Yulong's words, Lu Sanlang and the others' eyes were bloodshot, and they stared at Yulong with deathly intent. Yulong,
you bastard, are you really going to make things absolutely impossible?
Originally, with that exit, they still had a slight chance of escaping, but now that Yulong has told Chao Hu such news, it means that they have no way out at all.
Do you really want to push things to the extreme?
Yulong's mouth curled up. I call this knowing when to give up.
Wang Ya is finished, and is now lying in the hospital, unable to get up. As for Mr. Ning, in whom you previously placed your hopes, even if he were able to single-handedly destroy Crow, so what?
No matter how strong he is, he can't be as strong as Mr. Ma.
If he dares to come over here today, he will definitely die. Ha ha ha. Sooner or later, the 6th and 7th districts of Jiangcheng will all become Boss Chow's territory. I advise you to quickly abandon the dark and join the light, and switch to working under Boss Chow.
He smiled smugly. In his opinion, with Ma Huijun there, that Mr. Ning and Wang Ya could not possibly stir up any trouble.
Really? At that moment,
a woman's voice suddenly came from behind, falling into the ears of everyone.
Instantly, everyone's body trembled.
Immediately, they stiffened their necks and looked in the direction the voice came from, and then their eyes widened in disbelief.
Sister Ya? Lu Sanlang exclaimed in surprise, are you okay?
Then, joy appeared in his expression.
How is that possible?
Chao Hu shouted in a deep voice, how could you be okay when we broke all your bones?
Even Ma Huijun's eyes were filled with shock.
How could Wang Ya look so well just after such a short period of time? He immediately sneered, thinking that Wang Ya must have been forcing herself to come over from the hospital. After all, he had never heard of anyone whose broken bones could be healed in such a short period of time.
Sister Ya.
Yulong looked at Wang Ya, who appeared before him, and a chill rose in his heart.
Pop.
Wang Ya, wearing high heels, walked quickly up to Yulong, slapped him in the face, and said coldly, you really let me down.
This slap directly made Yulong's mouth go crooked.
Not only him, but at the moment, even Chao Hu and Ma Huijun felt the power coming from Wang Ya, and couldn't help but tremble.
Is Wang Ya really completely recovered? In an instant, the look they gave Wang Ya was like they had seen a ghost. Wang Ya, what are you so arrogant about? Yulong suddenly spoke with a hideous expression, what do you think you are? Just because I called you Sister Ya, you really think you are unstoppable, don't you? Even if you can get out of the hospital, so what? Mr. Ma was able to send you to the hospital once, then he can send you there twice. In the end, the 6th and 7th districts of Jiangcheng will still fall into the hands of Boss Chow, and you, Wang Ya, will kneel before Boss Chow like a dog and beg him to forgive you. At this moment, Yulong looked like he had gone crazy, covering his side of his face and sneering continuously. Hearing this, Chao Hu also reacted, sneering, yes, if old Ma can get rid of you once, then he can get rid of you twice. Wang Ya, I have to say you are really stupid. After getting out of the hospital, you didn't hurry to escape from Jiangcheng, but you still dared to come here to the Night Rose Bar. Gee, this time I really want to see who can save you. Ha ha ha. Laughter started to sound behind him. Lu Sanlang's face turned pale, and he shouted at Wang Ya, "Sister Ya, you are no match for Ma Huijun. You should leave quickly and don't worry about us. I believe that as long as you are here, sooner or later, the 6th and 7th districts of Jiangcheng will return to us. Wang Ya is their backbone, and nothing must happen to her." "Want to leave?" Xiao Wu sneered. "Old Ma, please help me again. This time I'll pay you the same amount." Ma Huijun nodded, stepped forward, and said proudly, "I'll give you a chance. Disable your own arms, and I won't have to do it for you." "But you don't have the ability to make me disable my own arms." Wang Ya sneered, then turned around and respectfully said to the Mercedes-Benz, "Please, Mr. Ning, help me get rid of Ma Huijun."